Well, hello everybody. It's Mr. Z again. This is my third or fourth time attempting to talk about measuring in correct proportion the Leopard. Obviously, I've been having trouble with my iPad, being a rank amateur. What we're going to do with this lesson is eventually look for some shapes. That's a shape. 1, 2. Here's another example from another flopped video. And again, 1, 2 to get the head and the neck. Two of the head and neck configurations would reach from the shoulder to the rear end. Let's quickly, since we already have done 2 lessons, let's get going with the one for you. And we're still recording. What I want to do with this class is I want to, again, establish a pretty small rectangle right here. This rectangle will represent the animal's head. It rolls back to almost a shape that looks like that. As I said earlier, I'm going to measure that shape. 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. So roughly the rear end is right about there. It looks like we're doing pretty good so far, okay? Now, with the width of the body, let's put the ear in here. I see an ear here and a little bit of an ear behind it. Let's measure that shape from the bottom of the chin to the top of the farthest ear and put it next to the body. The body is slightly wider. He must have just had his breakfast. So I'm going to measure that, set it where the back is here, and then a little bit longer would probably put it about there. I'm seeing a series of shapes. I'm seeing some really strong ovular shapes. This comes down and rounds out for the rear end. You have a nice circular shape here, and we're starting to just kind of rough in the animal. The chest comes down. The bottom of this shape rolls into the handsome, strong leg. And the elbow comes right at the part where we just talked about. He has a little bit of a belly hanging out here. The rear leg rolls forward and down. And you see a little bit of a leg behind coming there and a tiny bit of a leg behind the animal. Again, the tail rolls up, around, and way out. Now, those are the roughest shapes. Let's see if we're still recording. And we are. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as usual, I'm going to improve the project as I work on it. That's rolling here. The eye is here, and it's a little bit like that. Here's that chest, that big strong neck. And as you can see, that rolls down for the leg. I think I made it a little big. We always clean it up as we move forward. This rolls back here. And look at that. What an animal. That moves forward. And we have another leg here. They're all behind this rock. Okay. Those happen to be your basic shapes. Okay, now for the spots, you know, that can be done a variety of different ways. The best way is to remember that even if you're working with oil crayon, that the animal spots can be seen right through the oil crayon. So why don't we try some spots next? I'm going to be working with my bigger, and obviously he has a lot of great spots up here. A couple things I wanted to tell you is that if the animal has a spot that's on the edge of a muscle, it would stop at the edge of a muscle. and the new shapes would come out from underneath that muscle. That way, we're kind of starting to follow the shape of the animal. What you want to do is follow the shape of the animal with the spots, because it will help to define the figure. These ones are rolling this way. Very nice. These ones are rolling down here. And you can look at your photo to get a better estimation of that. These are rolling up this handsome neck. And look at these. That one's kind of going in that direction. Oh man. You have a nice gathering of them on this handsome round shoulder. On the tail, we seem to have bigger ones. Kind of like a snow leopard's tail that's really, really big and bold. You need that for balance, jumping all over the place. So I am following the shape of the animal again. It all helps us. It helps us with the animal. Okay, very good. I suppose you're tired of me drawing spots. Well, that's just kind of the way it is. Okay, guys, I think that's really good. This could be a little bit more rounded. Chin can come in a little bit. He's got, wow. And more here, more here. I think pretty much you have your basic handsome leopard here. This happens to be a green leopard or a yellow leopard. Let's try some green. Wherever, I'm going to put the green wherever normally one would find yellow. And of course, I'd like to remind you that we always leave the whites kind of the way they are. We kind of leave the whites the way they are because that shows some of the natural marking of the animal. Obviously, leopards aren't green. Maybe if he ate a bad impala, he would turn a bit green in his stomach or something, but they're not normally green. I'm going to put some color on the top of the tail. Down here, there's hardly any color, so I'm just going to suggest it a little bit. Okay, guys, looks like you have a beautiful leopard there. Let's try some other colors to bring out the highlights. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And since we're using these lighter colors, of course, green is across from red. That certainly wouldn't be a bad choice for the background color. That looks great. Red's near purple. It so happens that purple is not a bad color that we could perhaps find across from the yellow. Purple is across from yellow. Blue is across from orange. Red is across from green. The reason we make those choices, as always, is because they tend to give it a real kick. The complementary color gives it a real kick. Now, I've talked about this before. Your leopard perhaps could have a little bit of the background color on it. Not much. Maybe a little bit in the shoulder, maybe a little shadow. Just a little bit. And there you have it, a beautiful leopard, which is measured, not unlike measuring in correct proportion of a leopard, or leopard number 2, and leopard number 3, or your very own leopard. This is Mr. Z. Stay safe. Continue to do your drawing. I'm thinking about you, and I miss you. Bye-bye.